and welcome to Chicago Style Eats. I'm Tony.
And I'm Stephanie.
And we're your guides on a tour of satisfying dishes born in and made famous by Chicago.
We recently discovered this book, Made in Chicago, Stories Behind 30 Great Hometown Bites, by David Hammond and Monica Ng, published by Three Fields Books, which reveals the facts, funny stories, and lore about the hearty comfort foods our city is known for.
It covers the best-known local menu items such as thick, cheesy, deep dish pizza, the juicy, meaty Italian beef sandwich, and of course, the ubiquitous dragged through the garden Chicago dog.
But it also explores the deep cultural history of this town and how people of every ethnic background innovated, sometimes out of the instinct to survive hard times, sometimes to fill a niche, and invented hearty bites that came to be known as Chicago's own.
In addition to the old Chicago standbys, the book showcases many other Chicago-born dishes we did not know about.
So we thought it would be fun to experience all these dishes around the city, and we wanted to share all of them with you.
So, take a seat. Chicago Style Eats, coming right up. For this episode, we sampled the Chicago Corn Roll Tamale. Now, when you think tamale, you generally think Mexico, or Mexican restaurant at least. And it's a cornmeal with beef or pork or a chicken in the middle, maybe a little bit spicy, wrapped in a corn husk. Well, the Chicago Corn Roll Tamale is nothing like that. We know that tamales came to the United States with the migration of Mexicans into the country, into the deep South. We don't know exactly when the tamale showed up, but we do know that tamales were served at the World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago in 1893.
A lot of things happened at that exposition.
Yeah, a lot of innovation and
stories.
So we know that it was in Chicago at least that far back. It's not known when the street vendors started selling tamales, but that's pretty much how they began to grow through the city. But they also came with the great migration of African Americans from the deep South back in the 20s, 30s.
From the Mississippi Delta.
From the Mississippi Delta as they came up to look for work. Now, it was a different version. It was a more moist, more compact version of the tamale.
It's called a Delta tamale.
And older viewers of these videos might remember being able to purchase Derby tamales. They came in a jar. I think there were eight of them in a jar, and they were in like a light sauce, and they were each individually wrapped with it was almost like wax paper, or as our little guidebook here explains, a plasticized paper. And I remember these as a child. They were a great snack to have around, latchkey kids, and just open up a jar and unwrap one of these little tamales and greasy little things. But the Chicago Corn Roll Tamale is a different version of that. It's drier. And it comes individually wrapped. Nobody, no restaurant that you go to makes them. If they serve them, they have them like on the heat inside like a I would call it a hot box or something. And they'll pull it out. It's wrapped in an individual wrapper. There's two companies in Chicago that make them. One is the Supreme Foods company, and the other is Tom Tom.
Tom tamale.
And we didn't sample the Tom Tom, but I would imagine they're very similar. It's just basically cornmeal rolled, and the center is maybe beef, or it's got
enough beef that the USDA calls it beef.
And but it's mostly cornmeal, and so it's just like this shaped. I don't know, what would you?
It's like a corn dog that's not fried and no hot dog. It's that roll type of appearance.
It's a suggestion of meat in the middle.
Yeah.
And my opinion was that it was very dry. It tastes like the idea of a tamale, but way, way different from the Mexican tamale, the traditional Mexican tamale.
You thought it was pasty.
Pasty, yeah.
I didn't think it was pasty. I didn't think it was dry, but I just didn't think it was all that tasty. It was kind of it really was not. It was very underwhelming.
There's a softness, there's a moisture too, to the fingertip when you pick it up, but when you bite it, it's really dry. And the beef, however much is in there, there's in little bits, but there's also a lot of, it feels like it's cornmeal mixed up in it. So there's no like chunks of beef or anything. You get little individual bits of cornmeal, between your tongue and the roof of your mouth. So it's not a pleasant texture sensation in the mouth. Surprisingly, there's not a lot of junk in it. It's cornmeal, and like
beef.
Like Stephanie said, there is
said
beef. There's beef in it. I shouldn't say beef. There is beef in it. It's probably just enough that it can say that it contains beef. There was what BHT and something else, for like preservatives, but that was it.
Yeah,
and there wasn't a whole long list of
dihydro
chemicals and stuff. It was
whatever,
just those two things, and salt and a couple other things.
Seasoning.
So that was a surprise. Was that I was figuring I was just pumping junk into my face, but so there's the plus. So yeah, as an adult tasting this for the first time, I had a hard time imagining why anybody would want these things.
Yeah.
But then I remembered the Derby tamales from my childhood, which are no longer available, as I found out. The company was, I guess, went under or was bought out, and nobody serves the Derby tamales, at least not as they were when I was a kid. So I think it's probably somebody who grew up eating the Chicago Corn Roll Tamales, who goes and gets them and probably serves them to their kids, saying, "Oh, look how great these things are." But yeah, both of our impressions were no,
just not something I would specifically go out and buy.
So where can we find, if anybody's interested, find the Chicago Corn Roll Tamale?
So the book recommends 3 places: Portillo's Hot Dogs, which there are many locations for.
Any location, yeah.
Gene and Jude's at 2720 River Road in River Grove, and Jay's Beef, which is where we went, 4418 North Narragansett in Harwood Heights. So go out and try one and see if maybe you can enjoy it.
Yeah, see what you think. And good luck. Did you like this episode? Click the thumbs up icon below. Don't like it? Let us know in the comments what might make it better. Yeah, we're a little stiff on camera. We're working on it. Want to see more Chicago-style eats? Click the subscribe button below to get alerts when we drop a new episode. Thanks for watching.